Welcome back, Games 437 fans. I'm Games 437 here with another video. Even though it's been a year, it's been a couple setbacks here and there. Life's been a little busy, but I'm back now, and we'll see how many more videos I upload. Could be a while before I upload another one, but let's get into it. We're doing NFL quarterback rankings. At number 32, we got Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder has done nothing really in his career except start 2 games in last year, I believe. 2 games, maybe 1, but anyway, he started the last 1/4 of the season, give or take on that. I don't see a lot. He doesn't have a lot of weapons to work with. He'll have a good running back, but he will not have very many wide receiver options there to where I could see him really struggling to get anything flowing, and I just don't see him as a great quarterback. At number 31, we got Sam Howell for Washington. Oh, yeah, in Atlanta, I don't know why they didn't start Taylor Heinicke. He's a top 32 quarterback in the league. Heinicke deserves a chance to start one year. Heinicke has led Washington so many times, even though Washington let him go this year. I'm talking about Atlanta still, sorry about that. Heinicke has led so many times a team far beyond what people thought. And I think they should give him definitely a chance to prove himself there. And so I think he should be the starter on this team, but they're going to go with Desmond Ridder because he's younger. All right, Samuel Howell's next. I don't see a lot. He's got some good weapons to where he'll be all right, but I don't think he'll be great, and I think Washington's just a decent team if best, but I don't see Samuel Howell being better than anybody besides Desmond Ridder. At 30, hot take here, but I'm going to take Anthony Richardson to not have a great year because Jonathan Taylor's sitting out for the first 4 games, but also doesn't want to be there, so that could change everything, and the run game won't probably be as explosive, so he'll get sacked a lot. And just the fact that he had a terrible preseason, which you don't try to put too much into. I don't try to put too much into preseason, but the fact that he struggled in preseason really doesn't help his chances. It's just not good to struggle that badly in preseason where your completion percentage is under 50. That's just abysmal. It's garbage. Not good. All right, at 29, we got Jordan Love. Now, Jordan Love has a lot of teammates that Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, a very good supporting cast. The only thing is the one game he played in the regular season, he struggled really bad. And I don't put too much into preseason to where I'm not going to say, Jordan Love's going to play amazing because he's doing great in the preseason. No. I don't try to put too much into the preseason because the players aren't giving it their all. Sure, some guys like, choose for example, Kenny Pickett is going to go out there and try his best. Guys that are trying to prove themselves, like C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Deshaun Watson, are all going to play good in the preseason. Jordan Love, same thing. He's in that category. Desmond Ridder, Samuel Howell. They're all going to try to play good to prove that they're not a bad quarterback. But due to the fact that nobody else who is great is going to be trying super hard or they're going to go probably 80%, but they're not going to go 100% on you. So I can't buy it there, and that's why I got him at the 29th spot. 28, we got Baker Mayfield, a former number 1 overall pick for Cleveland Browns. Didn't really pan out. Got 1 playoff trip for them, and then ended up going to L.A. for the second half of last year, and it did not go well. I mean, it went good for 1 game for him, and then just kind of downhill from there. And then now he's in Tampa, where he's got some good weapons of Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, but they're an old team. I don't think they're going to be great, and I think that his quarterback play is at best mediocre to decent, but it's not going to be good. It's just hard to watch when you're a number 1 overall pick, and the fact that you're in the bottom half in the league of everything and didn't live up to expectations suck to where people are going to put you low on this list. So now at 27, I'm going to put Ryan Tannehill. I don't think it's anything against Ryan Tannehill. He's a okay quarterback. He's never been a great passer, but he's a good enough player to where if your team doesn't rely on passing, you'll be fine. But this year, he will have DeAndre Hopkins, which probably is the best option he's had in his career. But I don't see Ryan Tannehill he's never been a great quarterback. That's never who he is. So that's why I would say he's probably this low on the list. 26, I got Deshaun Watson. Still a question mark. He looked terrible last year. I didn't watch very many preseason games, I'm going to be honest. So I don't know what he looked like in the preseason, but like I said, I don't play a huge factor. Until he proves me otherwise, I'm going to keep him low to be safe. On Deshaun Watson's part, like I said, he could prove, I didn't say this. He could prove me wrong, but I don't think so. I think he's just, since he took that year and he had that suspension for half a year and then took that year off of contract negotiation with Houston, I think it's just derailed his career to where he is now and not in great shape or in football shape. At 25, I got Bryce Young. I think rookie quarterbacks have a hard time their first year transitioning. Because, I'm going to be honest, Justin Fields was like all hyped up, and then his first year didn't go so well. Second year got better. It's just a matter of gradually building. That first year is rough for most quarterbacks. So I'll say Bryce Young could be good. And I'm just going safe on this bet. Bryce Young has the tools to be very good, but I can't rank him any higher than this. At 24, I got CJ Stroud for pretty much the same reason. They're both in the same boat, give or take, flip-flop. But I think CJ Stroud is a much better quarterback, but who do I think has a more successful career is Bryce Young because of the team that he plays for and the fact that they have so many weapons. I feel like they have a lot more weapons to give on this and to build with Bryce Young than Houston. Houston's the worst football team in the league, and I think they will be again this year. They'll be the worst team in football again. At 23, I got Mac Jones. I don't know what to say about him. He is a question mark. And question marks lead you to think, I'm not going to say you're a top half quarterback. I'm going to put you in the middle bottom because Mac Jones is a question mark. First year was pretty decent. Second year was terrible. He got hurt, sure, but Bailey Zappi comes in, and then your quarterback, your job almost went gone. So the fact that you struggled last year kind of shows not good promise. And I think what could happen here is Mac Jones, it might have been sophomore slump, and he has a good season this year. But like I said, I can't put him higher than some of these guys up here. At 22, I got Jimmy Garoppolo. I heard he was not very good at training camp, which is not a good sign. He gets hurt a lot, and it's just, I don't think he's a reliable player to where you can rely too much on him. So I think Davante Adams will request a trade out of Las Vegas, but we'll see what happens there. Now at 21, I got Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson with Sean Payton, I think will be better than what he was last year, but he still won't be great. I think the days of Russell Wilson being great are over, and I think that's the reason why Seattle traded him last year, because they saw what Geno Smith had to offer, and they saw Russell Wilson was aging, and probably saw that and where they traded him, and were okay with it. And I think that's why they moved on from him, because they didn't trade DK Metcalf, they didn't trade Tyler Lockett. They actually, in my opinion, they made themselves to where they can compete in the long term, where they can compete now and they can compete later, which is a very smart move. We'll see if it pays off in the next couple of years. All right, at 20, I got Kenny Pickett. Pickett, I like George Pickens and him could be really good, and that is the reason why I have him so high on the list. Because some people might disagree with me on Kenny Pickett here, but I like the fact that he has George Pickens, who could be the next great wide receiver. I think he has a breakout year. And so the fact that he has a great wide receiver around him, I got to give the man some props there. And Mike Tomlin's just a great coach, so I think he'll figure it out because he's never had a losing season in the 17-year career he's had. So that is incredible, and the Pittsburgh Steelers coaching staff is amazing. So I do not think they will fail to get Kenny Pickett on track. Next, I got Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is one of those things where he had a good year last year, but due to the extension, and you got, what's his name? Darren Waller. That's right. Darren Waller is your best option to throw to. I think he will have a decent year. I think their coach, Brian Dable, unlocked some potential from Daniel Jones, but I still don't think he's better than a lot of these guys on this list, so I have him at 19. At 18, I got Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant of last year's draft. Who knew he would even be a starter this year. I would have never guessed that if you asked me last year at the beginning of the season. I would have been like, who the heck is this guy? Then, this guy is incredible. I think Brock Purdy could be a top 15 next year. I think he could potentially climb up on this list. If he has one more good year, he will probably climb up on this list very much. But I can't put him any higher than 18, but I respect him a lot. 17, I got Dak Prescott. This might be disrespect to Dak Prescott, but he's never done anything really in his career. And the fact that you've always had he's always had really good wide receivers around him. He's always had good defenses and never got too far in the playoffs. Always has a pretty good regular season, but never made it far in the playoffs, and that's what matters. And so I can't say that Dak Prescott is in the top half. I would say he's close. He's a very good quarterback, but he just can't get the job done when it matters. 16, Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff has a great year this year. I think Detroit, Dan Campbell has really helped him develop to where in that LA Rams when he was there, he was just more of handed off to Todd Gurley. Sorry, there's a fly there. Handed off to Todd Gurley and just very one-dimensional, if you will, offense. Because he just didn't throw the ball too much to where I feel like he wasn't too much of a threat and you were okay with him throwing. But now I think they've unlocked a lot out of him. And they got Jahmyr Gibbs in that backfield. So I think this Lions team could be really scary this year. Next, I got Kirk Cousins. Cousins is always Mr. Consistent. He always stays in that middle ground. And Kirk Cousins is what I would call the standard of QBs. If you want the standard of QBs, I would say Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins is those guys. Those are the two guys you look at, and that's your standard, is Kirk Cousins. So that's why I'd have him in the mediocre. He's always just a mediocre quarterback, but he is the standard of a good quarterback. Next, I'm going to give it to Derek Carr. Derek Carr has always been very good, but never really been able to take. I mean, he's kind of in the same boat as Dak Prescott. All four of these guys really are kind of in the same boat. Derek Carr is just very much in the same boat as Dak Prescott. Gets a lot done in the regular season. Has pretty good numbers statistically, but just can't get to I don't think he's been to a postseason. I don't know if that's facts, but I don't think he's maybe been to one at best. But I just don't. With Las Vegas and Oakland, he never really did much. So I think New Orleans could help him with that, and he could have a great offense around him. But we'll see it. And so now at number 13, I got Geno Smith. Last year, he toasted me for saying he was 32. So give him props to that. But I will say Geno Smith either has just as good as a year this year or has a down year. But I think he will be very good, and he will be in the top half of the quarterbacks. This is where we start getting to the pretty good quarterbacks. At 12, I got Justin Fields, who I think will have a phenomenal season. I think this is the year Justin Fields finally gets it together, finally has that wide receiver he's been looking for in DJ Moore, and I think it will help him a lot, and I think he will stand out, and people will be surprised at Justin Fields' development. At number 11, I got Tua Tagovailoa. Tua, he's a hard one to say because without the situation that he has helps him out in these rankings. Because Tua is a very good quarterback, he has good numbers, but he has so many weapons around him that if you take those weapons away, I don't know how good he is. So I think that is the reason why I'd put Tua this high on the list, but I think Tua is a good quarterback. Now we're entering the top 10. At 10, I got Kyler Murray. I think he's a great quarterback. I don't know if statistically it will show, but I think he is a top 10 quarterback in this league. He's a good scrambler, and let's hope that there's some wide receivers to help him out besides Marquise Brown. All right, at number 9, I got Matthew Stafford for the Rams. Due to the injury, this is why he's kind of low. I mean, not necessarily low on the list. Matthew Stafford is the most underrated quarterback maybe of all time. That's a big statement there. But I think Matthew Stafford in Detroit made the same throws Patrick Mahomes makes, but his team isn't good. The thing is, his teams were never good. He was never surrounded by talent until that one year he got traded to the Rams, won a Super Bowl. 1 year he got traded to the Rams. So I think Matthew Stafford is the real deal, and I think he is a legit quarterback, and he is amazing at what he does. Now we got number 8, Aaron Rodgers with the New York Jets, his new team. The news talk on the sports stations. Can we get over the fact that Aaron Rodgers went to Green Bay? I get he's in New York and you guys live in New York, but that's all they talk about on the ESPN. Every time I look at the app, it's about Aaron Rodgers every single day. I mean, get over it. It was a trade that happened months ago. It's time to move on and talk about more versatile stuff than just Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there's more quarterbacks. You could talk about like better quarterbacks out there. But the fact that they talked about Aaron Rodgers so much irritates me a little bit. But I think he will still have a good year. I just don't think he will. Honestly, I don't think the Jets will. They might not even make the playoffs, in my opinion. But that's a story for another day. Number 7, we got Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson hopefully has a good year. I think OBJ is going to help him a lot. I mean, he has Bateman, OBJ. He's got Zay Flowers. He's got Mark Andrews. I think he will have a really good year, and I think Lamar Jackson could have a career high in passing yards. Moving on to number 6, we got Justin Herbert, who is probably, this is where I start saying these are serious top-level quarterbacks. Justin Herbert might be one of my top 3 favorite quarterbacks. I like the way he plays. He plays very fluent, and he's a pocket passer, but he can get outside a little bit and is willing to throw and take risks. So I do love Justin Herbert in a lot of ways. Now at number 5, might be low for some people to say this, but I'm going to take Josh Allen. I just think he is very overrated and very over-talked about. I don't think he is a caliber quarterback to where you are stunned. He does a lot of things that are good, but think about all the weapons he has. Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. I mean, sure, he doesn't have the greatest weapons. I shouldn't say that he doesn't have a ton of weapons, because he doesn't. He does great things on the field, but I don't think he's better than Trevor Lawrence. I think Lawrence is the future of the NFL. I really do. I believe Trevor Lawrence is the future of the NFL, and I have him at number 4. I think he becomes the face of the NFL, competing with Patrick Mahomes. So, at number 3, I got Joe Burrow. Just makes sense. Joe Cool. Due to that injury, he's not higher. I would have had him number 1 on my list. Had he not got hurt, I would have had him at number 1. Probably the best quarterback in the league. This guy makes plays happen. He beats teams that are called unbeatable, and it's crazy. At number 2, I got Jalen Hurts. Hurts is good. He had a great season last year. He still has the same weapons, same core, even better, I feel like, defense. They lost some pieces, but I feel like they're about as good as they were last year, and I think he will have a great season. And number 1, the man, the myth, the legend, Patrick Mahomes, of course, has to be number 1. He is so unique and very gifted in a lot of ways, and is just a great player. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for coming back if you did, and see you all in the next one. Goodbye.